SpiritsbyJaynee on YouTube. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing fine. Um, my husband's sick, but he has kidney failure. That's very serious. That isn't why I came on. I came on for because I do come on Sundays and then Mondays. Mondays at 7. Um, this is something that I really want to ask everybody about. I need help with my Google Ads. I will pay somebody who wants to help me, who is willing to help me. I am not a computer person. I'm an old lady, a grandmom, 77, and figuring out what they mean is impossible for me. So if you are a computer person, just contact me. Write to SpiritsbyJaynee at Gmail or here, just answer that you understand computers and you're willing to help. Now I don't know how you can help. I'm assuming that you can, and you would have to know how you could help. But like I said, I will pay for it. So it's not free. You don't have to worry. If you put in any time, you get paid for it. Um, and that's it. Okay. The other thing is if anybody is interested in a reading, I do them and I do them well. I contact the spirits, which I'm going to do tonight, and I can answer questions about should you move, where should you move, that kind of stuff. Um, and I also can find out what your past lives were. Okay. Yeah. If you're interested in a reading, it's $80, but for up to 2 hours. Hi, Jim. Kim, I'm sorry. Um, you can pay what you can afford. I don't want anybody to not get a reading because they can't afford $80. To me, it's a lot. Um, and to some people, it's not. And, everybody's different. So let me know if you like a reading, just write to spiritsbyjaney at gmail.com. My website is still not up, which is a shame because I paid for it, but the people who made it kept insisting that I still owned .com, messagesfromheaven.com. No, I didn't, but they thought I did. So they had to change it. They'd make it .net because somebody bought it when I didn't think I was ever going to need it again and wasn't really interested in making a website. But I kept being asked about the website, and there was nowhere else to put people's reviews when I did readings for them. So that's what it is. It has the reviews. I have more reviews. Um, hi, Crazy Bean. That's cute. I had a friend we used to call, was his nickname was Beanie, and I used to call him. What did I call him? Um, I don't know, Best Bean. Special beans, because some people think they are special beans. They think everybody should move over for them and, let them get by. Oh, God, yeah, some people. Okay. I talked to Ivana Trump, yesterday evening. I hadn't before. I knew people were contacting her a lot. I contacted her last night. She like she really does talk. The way she was talking, she said that she was pushed. I've heard people say before that she said she was pushed. Um, I believe her, but I don't think that Trump himself pushed her. It could have been he has thugs. He has guys who just will do anything for him. And if I don't know if you even know about it, but one of his guys went into a pizza place, and I forget where, but Trump had said something about this was before the last election. Trump had said something about Democrats, and Hillary Clinton particularly was getting children in the basement of that place. Good morning, and um, and abusing them. It wasn't true. It was completely not true. The guy came in with his rifle and he shot it up. He believed what Trump said, and the fact is, whether you like him or not, you may like him, but he lies all the time. Um, he just makes up things at the spur of the moment. Um, and it's not okay, but to a lot of people, it feels fine. Not the Swedish government. No, I didn't think it was. That's really great. Are you in Sweden? I guess maybe the person is in Sweden, and I think it's wonderful. Hi, Casey. I love the names Casey, Lindy, not the Swedish government, and then ex Latvian, I think. Um, my family was originally in Latvia. Was it Latvia or Lithuania? And they went from there. One part's my family. They went from there to Ukraine, and then had to run away from Ukraine. So Ivanka was complaining that she was thrown down the steps. She was pushed, not thrown. She was pushed down the steps, and that what did she say? She wasn't happy that she was buried in the golf course, and she said she was buried with papers. Now, I recognize that Trump is a hoarder, which isn't criminal. Some people cannot throw things away. They buy a lot of things. I don't know that he bought a lot of things, but he took a lot of things. Oh, thank you. He took a lot of things from the White House because he felt like he owned them. They were his. And that's how hoarders are. I'm not, I don't mean to judge them because my son's father-in-law is a hoarder and he is a lovely man. I really love him. And he makes all kinds of food. He was a caterer. Boy, can that man cook. He makes fabulous pies and cakes, and he makes all kinds of Italian specialties. It's wonderful. I mean, we ate his lasagna a couple days ago. Wonderful, wonderful. His meat. I don't eat meat, but I eat his meatballs because they're so wonderful. He's incredible. But yes, he's a hoarder. And my brother-in-law was a hoarder. When I went to like straighten up, I was at their house out in Oregon, and he freaked out. I was picking up what I thought was trash on the floor, empty envelopes. Oh my God, he told me that he wished I were dead and all kinds of crazy stuff. This is a good guy, but he was a hoarder, and hoarders they tend to pile everything up. If you can walk through, that's it. You know, as long as you can get through, that's enough. They don't care. Um, they can't help it, you know. So she said that he buried papers in with her ashes. So I don't know. I guess maybe at some point we'll see. She doesn't really want to be there. She wanted to be in a place, I guess, maybe with her parents. I mean, her children. Thank God for her; they're alive, and so she doesn't have to be buried there. But with it, there's no place in particular other than where she comes from and where her parents are. Um, so, yeah. Um, thank you. Is that Casey? Casey Rose is beautiful. What a beautiful name. Thank you. So I thought After I told you what Ivana said, what else did she say? I don't. She didn't. Oh, she was scheduled to go the day after she fell down the stairs to testify against Mr. Trump. So I think there was a reason for someone to push her down the steps. Not everybody dies when they fall down the steps. So lucky for whoever pushed in on the steps that she did. She said that she never walked down the steps. She had an elevator, so it wasn't something she would have done or could have gotten hurt. Um, all those people in New York and around the United States died because first there wasn't a cure to COVID, and then when there was, Trump was telling them to take. There was a medicine that I took for lupus. It was an anti-malarial medicine that worked really well for lupus. Trying to remember what the name was. I can't remember. I'm not going to remember now. And then he told them to take a medicine that was for horses, drink bleach, crazy stuff. But people tend not to remember. Anyway, okay, so let me call Jimmy Carter. Okay. President Carter, would you come talk to us? Jimmy Carter? He's here. He's wearing really casual clothes. I can see the tan pants. I can't see his shirt, but he's got it looks like his hair's blonde, and he's just dressed casually and friendly. How are you, President Carter? He's got that accent. Oh, that's sweet. He says that he's doing fine. He's very happy. He's with his wife. She's there and she's fine. She wasn't well before. Rosalind. He's there. Yeah. He's helping people, he said. He's helping them. What are you helping them do? He's saying about helping, he must be helping, giving, talking in the ear, I guess, of people who are trying to fill out government papers, which are really hard because they're written in governmentese. They're not in plain English ever. It's just not the way the government does it. Everybody writes in whatever type of words they use in their job. It's You just get used to using those words, and then you don't realize that other people don't use them. So President Carter, what are you doing with the spirits there? Talking. He says talking. He's trying to get deceased Arabs and Palestinians to talk with deceased Israelis to bridge the gap. That's terrific. That's wonderful. I hope that you're very successful. I pray that you're successful. They need that. It's a horrible thing. There's no religion in heaven, correct? No. No. So why are they still angry at Israelis? I think he says they're a tribe. I'm not sure. I don't. Why did you say they're still angry at Israelis? They can't help it. I know people, spirits can eat, and everybody in that area eats the same food, including the Greeks, everybody. I go to a Turkish restaurant, same food, wonderful. I love the food, but um, don't they have that in common? He said, yes, they have that in common. So they can eat together. They argue. They eat and they argue. Okay. Can they, that there's no way they can um mommy it's just grandmommy. Yeah. Um so they when they argue, I mean these are hot-headed people anyway. They're the whole bunch, everybody down there. Everybody. They all argue and they argue with their kids. This is what people, you know, Israelis, Jews, Arabs, they're always, they're loud, loud and opinionated, very opinionated. Can they talk about crops? No, they don't want to talk about crops. They talk about what? What do they talk about? That the Jews don't belong there. But the Jews do. They originated there. I mean, that's where they started. They were the same people who just happened to turn toward Judaism uh, rather than whatever else was available. So doesn't that count? He says, maybe. I'm glad you're doing what you are doing. It's really worthwhile because they do talk to people who are here on Earth. They appear, they get into dreams, they can make a difference. And some people are psychic on both sides. So so what you're doing is very worthwhile. Thank you for doing it. Okay. He said you're welcome. Is there anyone else that you want me to talk with other than maybe Judy Garland? Does anybody want to hear from Judy Garland? I've never talked to her. Who do you want me to ask? Because that the only two people I wrote down were Ivanka or Ivana. I keep saying Ivanka. Ivana and Jimmy Carter. Would you like me to call what's his name? The guy from India, the guy I think I'm not sure if he was alive. Mahatma Gandhi? Mahatma Gandhi? How do you feel about that? How does anybody feel about that? You don't know? Okay. No. Nothing? Okay. All right. I talked to President Nixon today. My husband wanted me to talk to him, to call him. I did. I called him and I called George W. Bush, the first Bush. It's too close to my eyes. I can't stand it. Um, so President Nixon, if well, he's before most of your times. He became president, I think, in 1960 was John F. Kennedy, and he came. Was he after John F. Kennedy? He probably was. Um, I'm trying to think. What did he do? He did something during the Second World War. I mean, he died in his 80s, I think. Um, he had been the president. He was. Um, they didn't kick him out, but he had been very paranoid. So he taped everything when people came into his office, the presidential office, and he had, you weren't supposed to do that. And he said a whole bunch of stuff that was inappropriate. And I'm not saying what he put, he put, uh, hearing devices in the Democrats' offices. He really was paranoid. And Spiro Agnew was his first vice president. The guy was literally taking bribes in his office in the White House. So eventually he was kicked out, and a guy named Gerald Ford, who had been in, I think he was in the House of Representatives, he was put in, and he pardoned Nixon in the end. So my husband wanted to ask him about um, aliens, people from other planets visiting, because because what we hear is that from other psychics and from television, is that they are visiting the Earth, and they've met with most of the heads of state. He asked Nixon, and Nixon said that yes, he met them, and he described them as tall and gray. And the gray ones are, well, they're partly human and partly robot. I think that's what they are, but they're not living beings, and they usually fly the little ships. They're the ones that do the exams and stuff like that, and which the aliens don't want to think about. They take sperm and they take eggs from women, and that's really how they make um, the grays. Uh, so he was asking about them, and what I've heard before from other psychics has been that they're tall and very, like, they have no color. They're white. I mean, white. They're This is white too, but they're white like this is white. That kind of white. So um, he didn't get too much from. Well, I didn't get too much from Nixon. Just that he met with them, and they weren't interested in hurting anybody. They wanted to protect the earth. They knew that if they appeared anywhere, people would kill them. I mean, they would just bring out their rifles and kill them. Every country doesn't have rifles like the United States does, though. We have more guns than people, and we got a lot of people, but we have a really lot of guns. So a horrible amount of guns. So then uh, Harry, my husband, asked me to call George Bush Sr. So I did, and I've seen him before. Every time I called Eisenhower, who was the president in like 1952 or something like that, when I was a kid, every time I saw Eisenhower, George Bush would stick his head in, and he would start laughing and joking around with me, and he'd be in there. So I've seen him often. He's very funny. So anyhow, so he came, and he said that he met them, and that they were all different kinds of beings. He described them as, like, one looked like big insects, and they looked, the tall white ones are one kind of people, and then I know I've heard that there are scorpion types and types that look like alligators, or the other kind, alligators, or the other ones that are similar to them. And I think he was describing them too. And he said if people saw, people would freak out if they saw them, especially the weird looking ones. So he said eventually they're probably going to have to come anyway, because we're really ruining the earth. Um, we're messing up the air, water, and ground. So he thinks that they're probably going to come eventually and repair it. Assuming that they can, I'm sure they could at least start it. Um, I don't know. Um, my daughter keeps saying that they're coming here for a reason, and while she doesn't think they want to kill us all or eat us, she thinks that we probably have something they want. Um, I have heard one psychic that I listened to say that, the abominable snowman beings that people see, they're not friendly at all. They see them in like forested places all over the world. Um, they're supposed to be aliens too, who supposedly can shapeshift. I don't know whether they shapeshift or that's just the way they look. They're, they said that what those people was doing was taking specific minerals or mineral that they need that we don't use, don't care about. Okay. I mean, I think that there are a lot of things we don't know about. Uh, Africa is loaded with all kinds of minerals, and so is, I mean, a lot of countries have all kinds of minerals and things that could be of use to different civilizations. Who knows? I've been studying early civilizations, listening to lectures and enjoying them, learning about China, things I never knew. They have, they and India have the oldest civilizations, although Mesopotamia uh, did, they may have been the same, it may have been around the same time. China was, they had the civil service going when Rome was active, and we're talking 1 and 200 years BC, BCE, I guess. That's that's when. At the same time, both of them were functioning. Rome did not have a civil service, and in fact, their their way of judging things and making arrangements for stuff was chaotic. Where China really had it, they had it down pat, and they did a great job. Um, they both really. China didn't have a professional army where um, Rome did. Rome eventually did, and um, they would, when they took over a country, they would allow the people to be in a Roman army, and then they could be Roman citizens. Anyway, I don't know how many of you are still listening to me. I think it's probably time for me to get off. Again, I really need someone to help me with the ads. It's just a little job. We're not talking about anything more than an hour or two, you know, occasionally. I really need help, and I will pay for it. I paid to get the website. So, I mean, this stuff is completely out of my realm. It's just not anything I understand. So, yeah, I need help. I will pay for it. And if you are interested in a reading, I do a good job. But if you don't like it, I can just give the money back or pay, or you can not pay. Not a big deal. And to do that, to do either one, contact me at SpiritsbyJaynee@gmail.com. So thank you for watching. As long as you did, it's a pleasure. Okay. Thank you. Take a deep breath and have a good evening. Good night.